Hello and welcome back to my channel. So just the other day I finally turned 21. I'm saying finally because it felt like it just took way too long. I don't know why. I kind of feel like I've been 20 for such a long time for some weird reason. But yeah, I finally turned 21 and there should be a birthday vlog coming up. I did spend it in Barcelona with a few of my friends and it was pretty insane. One of the best birthdays I've ever had for sure. So of course I started reflecting on everything that's happened this year, just everything that's happened in my life, you know, just where I've come from. I mean, of course I'm so grateful. I'm saying this like I'm 50, but seriously, there are a lot of people that do not get to reach this point. So yeah, enough babbling and stuff, so let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I learned is that age is nothing but a number. Obviously when you're younger, you look at adults and you think they have all their stuff together and they're just these beings who basically can just do 1, 2, 3, and I still feel like adults still deal with a few things that we deal with. Number 2, it is so important to have friends that have the same deep-rooted values that you have. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you guys have to have like the same, you know, personality or whatever. You just have to have the same values. Number 3, you never know what people are going through at all. I just can't stand those people who like are mean to waitresses or mean to like people who are, you know, in some customer service position. You have no idea what they're going through. Like, they have done nothing to you. So like, what's the point of you being mean to them? Like, you have no idea what they're going through and you're just being mean. I just don't, seriously do not get that at all. So just be nice. Allow yourself to be reckless. Life is just not gonna get easier from here. So I definitely give myself a time when I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna do whatever. Right now, I'm not tied down to anything. I'm not tied down to a specific job. I'm not tied down to children. I'm not tied down to anything. This is something that I learned at such a young age, and I'm so glad I've carried it all the way until, you know, my 21-year-old self. Everything definitely happens for a reason, and I am so content with a lot of things that happen in my life, especially things that do not go my way. There was an incident where I actually lost my car keys after I left the club in Kenya, and it's pretty dangerous driving out at night in Kenya. I wasn't drinking or anything, but I mean, you know, it wouldn't have been a safe situation. Like, who knows, I would have been at the wrong place at the wrong time. Number 6, another thing that actually keeps me content is just being confident. It really took me a while to get to this point. Being in art school, your work is constantly being judged like 24/7. Literally the only way that you can be accepting of your own work is if you're confident about it. People will comment on your work, and most of the time it's really negative. It's more negative than good. So you really have to think to yourself, no, I know my work is like this, or just being confident in general. It just really helps. Back to the whole confidence thing. Small things that I noticed that just like make the biggest difference, like a firm handshake or just keeping your posture up. Just confidence can just go a freaking long way. To figure out who has your best interests at heart early. Just because someone has known you since you were a baby or since you were, you know, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, does not necessarily mean that they have your best interests at heart. Maybe someone that you meet, you know, last month might have your best interests at heart rather than someone that you met like 15 years ago. But it just depends on the person. Number 9 is being a yes person. Don't say yes to everything, but definitely just open your mind up. Like, it's not gonna hurt. Number 10 is being super self-aware, because literally it's the first step to bettering yourself. But just being aware of who you are and how you react to certain things and why you feel certain things when this happens, like, those are so important, because you're just gonna start getting better and better once you start noticing those weaknesses. I realize I'm becoming way more comfortable with having about maybe 2 to 3 friends or 2 to 3 people in my life who understand what is going on completely. I realize that I like keeping my stuff like very private. I know private YouTube doesn't make sense. I used to have like 15 people who knew like why I was sad and all that stuff, but like I am such a different person now, and you know, like probably 1 or 2 people that know exactly what's going on, and I like to keep it that way. You need people. Like, don't think you can do this all by yourself. Like, people are just way too important in order to get whatever you want in life, for real. like there's some people that hate people, but like people are just important for you. It's never too late to form really important bonds. For the longest time I was like, oh, you know, I've already met like all the friends that I know are gonna like mean a lot to me, until I went on this recent trip and I discovered a group of people that have literally changed my life. I mean, I'm still 21, but yeah, I always thought like I already met all my friends, but seriously, you can form such important bonds even later. There's a lot of downsides to traveling that people never ever talk about, and I'm sure I'm gonna make a whole video about this because there's another side to traveling that I had no clue about. It's so important to have a certain vision of who you want to be. And it's not just the cliche like, oh yeah, I want to be successful. I mean, everyone wants to be successful, but in terms of like, who do you actually want to be? Like, I've always wanted to be independent. Just knowing like those simple detailed things about yourself will definitely get you to start making moves early. People will find any reason not to like you, so just don't ever try and impress anyone else but yourself. And this might be so, you know, but still, seriously, like people will find any reason not to like you, so just don't ever make it a goal to try and impress like this amount of people, because it'll never happen. Like if someone chooses not to like you, they're seriously just not going to. Okay, this is one of my favorite quotes. Forget it enough that you get over it, but remember it enough that it doesn't happen again. I'll leave the quote here in case I got it wrong, but that's one of my favorite quotes, because whatever you go through is always a lesson, so don't ever forget how that made you feel and just don't make those same mistakes again, you know? I didn't realize that I would have grown so much from when I was like a freshman to now. That's been about 3 years, but I feel like the growth is just insane. I don't know if that's like college changed you, or I don't know what it is, but definitely just the biggest growth. I don't even know if that's English, but like I grew way too much from freshman year up to like my second year for sure. Don't ever try and dictate or write someone's life for them. There's no point. Maybe it's taking you many years to graduate. Doesn't mean you'll be a failure. Maybe, you know, school isn't your thing. Like, doesn't mean you'll be a failure. Just because someone's doing this or not doing the norm does not mean that they're not going to be successful, or they're not smart, or they're not this, or just this. Cutting off all of those stereotypes is just something I learned to do very early. Number 21, the last one, is being 21 doesn't feel that different. I didn't realize that my personality would be the same for this long. I don't know, I felt like as a teenager you're always crazy, and then when you're an adult you're like chill. I always thought like me being a 16-year-old and me being 21 would be like two completely different people. But in reality, I still like the same thing. I'm obviously way more mature than I was, but in terms of just my personality and stuff, I feel like I'm definitely remain the same. And yeah, that is the end of the list. And you guys are 21, like let me know what you guys learned, some major life lessons that have changed you. And if you're actually older than 21, like is there anything that I should be expecting as I go into this 21-year-old plus phase, or just being in your 20s in general? I would love to know. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you next week. I am saying that confidently because I know I'll be posting next week for sure. And yeah, ta-ta!